Is this working? As usual, somehow, like when I do the write in the chat, that usually starts things up. So, going to wait a few. Prepare the voice. Anyone here? Please write in chat once you are here so that I know that someone is present. I am used to talking to myself, but considering that a live is meant to be for others to listen to you talk to yourself, might be a good idea to know. Oop, I see it go to 2. Don't know if the one is still me. It likes to mess with me, but please say hi in the chat. Also, that tells me how much of a lag there is that YouTube has decided to give someone who has like literally one viewer. Apparently, that's just too much for YouTube. Liz, yay, okay. Hi, hello, me again. I've been forgetting to do my intro, which just goes to show how much my brain has been melting. And so, hope you brought your snacks, water bottles, and low expectations, because that's what we got for you today. Even my face has low expectations. Literally, at the end of all these finals, my face has just decided, you know what? The camera's bad, but like, I don't know if let's just take a look at all the acne that wasn't there before. I'm telling you, I ate like 4 fries within the past couple of days, and this is what happened. I've had extreme acne in my life that didn't match anyone in my family, but yeah. So thank you all of one person, but also if anybody watches this later, thank you, because seriously, you guys helped so much. I'm gonna keep talking in plural because I realized I put these up. Gave me through this shit. But this is literally a mild representation of what my brain sounds like, even though it's in written form. This is what it sounds like. It's just a lot more screaming. Like, yeah, I'm really all over the place with this one, especially considering I'm running out of food and I'm very, very poor. A little worried there. Let's just say I didn't realize how poor I was. And my priorities at the time of purchasing really weren't great. But I got my apple juice. And thankfully, there's water. Let's see. Your brain, Lou. Your brain, of course, let me try to read without my glasses. Okay, Lou says your brain have more string. Okay, so that wasn't just my fault. Your grammar was fucked up. Your brain have more strings and post-it notes or about the same. Apple juice always handy. It always is handy. And it's probably, it's more, way more. It wouldn't be able to fit all of them on here. Oh shit, did I always, like, there's some I turn around because of personal information. Please tell me none of these have it. Nope. We've got all the personal information hidden, thank God. So today is going to be a very, very calm live with me just talking to you guys and discussing what I might do, because I was doing a lot of lives during my finals. It was much easier than it's honestly, it's like automatically processed. Oh, my voice, it's so much easier to do, and I've really been enjoying it. But also, the problem is they're very, very long, and the longer you have videos, I'm going to check the chat Lou in a sec. The longer you have videos, the more chance there is for you to have shit for people to take out of context. And although I really don't care, it's kind of like, do I want that to be my... Actually, no, I don't care. It takes me to... When I say things out loud, I sort of have the epiphanies as I go along. And honestly, I'm just showing... The whole point of this channel is to show, hey, I'm an asshole and I'm a narcissistic, egotistical sociopath, unrelated to my autism, but I would like to show you the challenges of also being autistic. And I constantly repeat the fact that I am a sociopath, but I like to make sure that that is recognized to be separate from the autism, so it doesn't fit the stereotype, because autistic people are actually very, very empathetic. That's why, like, they have the sensory overload, and then imagine, like, you get all the sensations and the nuances. you know, you just get feelings about people. You'll get, I've like people will tell me I don't really get this as much, or like it's just the vibes, but you just don't know what they are. It's very overwhelming because even the little bit that I do get is just so annoying. Let's see. Lou, I'm looking for personal info on the board. I see no personal info on it. Well, the out of context thing is a give and take. I'm sure there are clips from your shorter videos that don't sound super well out of context. That's honestly true. Like, you really can't avoid it. And I have been realizing now, maybe again, sound egotistical, but am I the only one on YouTube who's just like realize that you really can't win? All these people, like, I saw Angelica Oles had to put up she put up an apology. She's a drama commentator YouTuber. Also, because I've been talking so much, by the way, it's harder for me to get things out. So it ends up looking like I have a speech impediment, but it's just my brain impediment. But so expect a lot of stuttering, and a lot of ums and buts and stuff like that, fillers. And she's honestly one of the most respectful people that I've seen with drama channels. And I don't like watching a lot of drama channels, but she's very, very logical and rational with how she breaks things down. And usually doesn't like she apparently I didn't even watch the things that she had to apologize for, but even in the comments they were saying like this is so out of context. And when I was watching her apology, I kept thinking she was like crying, and I'm like these are like literally bits and pieces of talking, and people are shitting on her that hard. That's just so sad. That's also why I don't have a Twitter. Oh, I see a third person. Who's here? Please say hi. Say hi in the chat. If hopefully they don't leave, or it's not just a thing lying to me. Let me see what else Lou said. Lou said, "I'm not sure there are clips from your show." Oh, that's a different one. If there's a third person here, hello. Feel free to let me know in the chat. Yeah, just a second to collect my thoughts, if that's even possible. Was I gonna say? Yeah, back down to. Oh, Lauren. Hi, you managed to get to us. I'm so sorry that I put a pinned comment, and usually what I do is I put direct comments to the latest people that have attended the lives, because they have the most recent comment list. And I've decided to make it a thing of every time I put up a live, like after say this live, if I mention that I'm going to do another one the next day, check the latest video, because the latest video uploaded will have a pinned comment there. Because and then I usually respond to Lou and Snowy, because they're the ones that continuously show up, and Snovy's a mod. And Lou, I'm thinking because you're very responsive, and Snowy, I'm going to probably make you a mod too. I'm thinking about it just because in case Snowy can't come around. And with smaller channels, apparently you get a lot more creeps. And so far, Lou, I haven't seen any reason not to. And I'm still learning about what the mod things are, what they have access to on my channel. But I realize also like there's nothing there. I don't have videos that I've privated for like that are bad. I don't have stuff like that. I've just got ones that are like, I've got drafts or ones that are pending, or literally just a list of uploaded things. That's it. Let me check the chat. Lou, I always leave my low expectations at the door and bring zero expectations. Honestly, that's the way to live your life. It really is. In my opinion, if you keep your expectations low, like the only way it can go is up. My mouth is doing that twitchy thing, and I hate it. Please stop. Yesterday I took my meds, but when I woke up, I realized that it looked like the days were off in my little meds box, because I keep a little meds box. This is the only thing I have left from my first serious relationship. It's also breaking in certain areas and hard to keep together, but parts of it have worn off, and the words kind of representing the communication. This is the only good thing I got out of that relationship, that and knowing what I don't want. The one that married my ex. Or that was the one where my best friend married my ex, and that was the ex. All I got left, and I only kept it because it's very compact and nice. Lou, the hammer of justice would be an honor. Sorry, I mean wrench. Hammer is just cool. It honestly is. What are they called? The things they're not hammers of justice, but they're this great safe way to do it. The ones that are like that thing. So I will with mods probably take them on and off. But for right now, I might have, so probably join me while I go to the other room, because usually what I do, I talked about this with my personal, she's nurse practitioner. I'm always about to call her doctor, so if I call her psychiatrist, that's why. And sometimes what I do is I'll take an extra of my mood stabilizer. Nobody else do this. This is not always good, and I don't know if I'm always doing it right, but I never want to risk it, because one of the things that's hardest for me, because I'm bipolar, is the way my mood's switching. Like it's because I have rapid cycling, and I have a very rare version of the rapid cycling, which is also especially rare in females, where it goes so fast it looks like borderline personality disorder, and that's what people thought I had, and nothing wrong with that. Well, there's a lot wrong with that because it's a disorder, but I mean, I'm not gonna shit on the people who have it, but I knew I didn't have it, because even though I fit the criteria on a surface level, I just didn't really need it. I didn't have the same, because there's a difference between moods and emotions. And my moods will come off a lot as really extreme emotions, but they're just, when they go away, it'll be like, oh no, it'll be the depressive thing. So it's very separate for me. And so the cycling, I have rapid cycling, ultra rapid cycling. Technically, it would be called ultra rapid cycling, or you do 3 ultra. It's just such a stupid way of saying it, but that type of cycle, to be considered rapid cycling, you just need 4 or more cycles in a year, even with bipolar 2. Bipolar 1 is the one that usually has longer things. Bipolar 2 usually has longer depressive episodes. Bipolar 1 is the one where you have to have a full psychotic, like you have to have a full manic episode, not just a hypomanic episode. I can explain that more in detail later. But I'm type 2 bipolar. I have type 2 bipolar disorder, ultra rapid cycling, basically just hell. At one point it was cycling, I don't know, 8 to 10 times a day, something as ridiculous as that, or maybe a little bit less, but it was so fast, and that was the hellish thing. And a fun part is that your cycles, your cycles will change as you get older with bipolar, when you have bipolar. Like, also you can switch between the two types along the progression of it, in between, if you go into remission or not. But it's an interesting thing of, what will it be today? Or like when I turn a different age, like, will this year mean that I have to adjust my meds differently? Yay. Okay, let's see. Lou, what range of moods do you switch from to? And how do the cycles change with age? Okay, I'm going to go with one question at a time, but could you clarify with what range of moods you mean? Let me check my battery. Battery's at 31%. It was at 15, and luckily I checked it because I was like, I'm not going to repeat this. Okay. Am I going in there? No. I have a whole box. This is where I keep all my meds. When I pick things up, all the pharmacists are like, you've got like 7 or 9 of these like things to get. Oh, wow. That's the usual reaction that I get. Oh, no, not that one. That one. This one, I just need to break it in half. Okay, doing this down here because I don't want the name on the prescription bottle to show. Okay, good to go. Let's see what's in the comments. Range of moods. Oh, you didn't clarify the range of moods thing yet. The range of moods do you switch from to? Do you mean like the type, like depressive or hypomania or manic, that type of thing? Please break in half. Why are you being difficult? Okay, I need the pill cutter. Also, I'll answer the second one. Cycles change with ages. Okay, firstly, it's very individualistic how it can change. Like there are cases of bipolar disorder changing between type 1 and type 2. But to answer for my personal case for this, I saw you answered. I'll just continue on the second question so I don't forget. Is with age, for example, it can change from like, oh, you have longer depressive episodes with this, or longer hypomanic episodes, for example, with bipolar type 2. Later, it can change to longer depressive episodes or longer hypomanic episodes, depending on what it is. Bipolar type 2 generally has more depressive episodes, but it's different from having more of them to having longer ones. It'll be like it's less likely for them to go into the hypomania, but you have to have at least one. You'll have the hypomania, but it's very much more common that they'll be in the major depressive episodes. Now, for the case of the when you have rapid cycling, that's where things change. So that's where you have to get used to the different types, and that's where medications also change. And I forget which thing it was. I need to double check it, and I will. Which thing exactly it is that will become more common or change with ultra rapid cycling. And especially with women, it's different because, they love to study men only for some reason. Okay, and for the first one, Lou, I was just wondering if the change in moods was just from depressive to manic, because those are the changes I'm used to hearing about. Well, yeah, it'll be within a range. So there's like about 4 different things, the basic ones. There is the depressive episode, the manic episode. There's something called the hypomanic episode. Then there's something called the mixed episode. Now, the depressive episode is a major depressive episode. When you hear the people with major depressive, not like chronic, not like meeting usually the criteria of the major depressive episode. And then there is the manic. Manic is the one you see with type 1. Usually the ones that it can include psychotic features or delusions or hallucinations. Whereas you have the hypomanic, which is one where it doesn't have the delusions or the hallucinations, but you have potential irritability. You become really, really hyper. You basically, that's where it becomes tricky to see. Like it'll look like kind of like ADHD. Because of the hyperactivity, it can look like that, but it can also not be necessarily euphoria. Remember, with manic episodes, it's not always happy. They think of the happy and sad. It's a lot more the energy levels. It's a lot more with the moods being up and down, but it's not about being happy and sad all the time, but that is a possibility. Now, one of the most dangerous ones, and this is from my knowledge, I'm just talking off the top of my head as a clarification. I'm not a mental health practitioner yet. I'm not licensed. I am just a student, and I'm just talking from my personal knowledge and understanding. And a lot of this is very much what it's like for me and how I've understood it over the years. But literature and research is always changing, and I'm going to go to the DSM in a bit to double check what I'm saying. But the mixed episode that ends up being the more dangerous one is because you're depressed, but you have the energy that you'll have when you're in a manic or hypomanic usually. I need to double check that if it's in bipolar 1, but that's when you're really, really depressed, it can be like you barely get out of the bed to go to the bathroom. So there's less of a risk of you hurting yourself. But if you have more and more energy, that's when it gets a bit more dangerous and implementing that type of thing. I get it. Yeah, it's a lot about a range. Okay, I'm going to get my DSM. I can't wait till they bring out the DSM-6. I feel like it should be coming out fairly soon because the DSM-5 came out in 2013. Oh, got stuck. Oh. Oh, this particular one, I hate the taste. This is my lamotrigine. Tastes so bad. Lou. I mean, I don't think most people come here looking for you as a certified doctor. Yeah, I know. I just like to make sure to clarify just in case, because you never know. I don't want people, if there are people who say, you said you're 18, people who are 18, it's so younger. Yes, a lot of them are more mature, but it's still being thrown into the adult world. So the 18-year-olds are the ones I want adults to be the ones on this channel. But even when you're an adult, that doesn't mean you've hit the point of being able to recognize that, like, just because this person has this is real, sounds very familiar with it, that you still need to take everything with a grain of salt. So I just think it's very fair. Oh, we're up to 4. Hi, whoever it is, say hi in the chat. I forgot what I was saying, but it's just like, making 1 away 3. I don't know. Say hi if you're here to whoever it is, but if it's new people, also feel free for anyone to ask questions in the chat. I love answering them. I guess today's topic is going to be the mental stuff, and we'll do Q&A about a psych chat. So it's going to be psych chat because I don't feel like talking more about what was in my course stuff just because I want like a day off. But the stuff was very interesting. And it's so cool that I found people that were actually interested in this shit. Like, how often can I find, like, I didn't think that I'd start YouTube channel, do a live, and people would be like, yeah, totally, let's talk about civil commitment and what it takes to be classified in insanity from a legal sense. But you guys are really, it seemed like you guys are into it or didn't mind like having me in the background even to listen to, because I can understand that. Check in chat. Lou. I mean, I don't think, oh, I thought I saw a new one. It's so hard. I hate how the chat is like, even if I could make the chat bigger, I think. No, it's just like, it's so small. Like the writing is so small. And I'm like, I have bad eyesight. Really, really bad eyesight. Horribly. Awful. Like, to like the level of which my eyesight is bad is impressive. And also because of I just realized that I brought over the other. I broke the pill in half because I wanted to take half of the pill, but then I brought the other half and now I don't know where to put it because I don't want it. All right, this is an empty bottle. We'll put it with this. This was semantic. I'm doing this whole do as I say, not as I do. As I do it as what I say, not as I do. I think that's the saying. Lou, the responsibility of society and the legal system involving people with mental instability is pretty fascinating. It really is. Maybe later in this I'll go into it because that part was very, very fascinating. It was more the the really legal stuff that is annoying, but that stuff is fascinating. And I would love to learn about it as much as I can, but I do not want to be there because I'm going to be so frustrated being like, God damn it, this bipolar person or whatever it is. Like, not that it also, there's just that bias, but even aside from that, my personal thing is I can separate myself from it. And I had to do that for that article that I was writing, that assignment. It involved sexual predator, sexual assault, and not going into detail. I have very strong feelings towards those. I don't have many feelings, but towards those people, it's like, if you got hit by a bus, man. Like if we're sure, like I'm not talking about like those shitty cases where they're just being lied about, and I hate the girls that do that, where girls or guys or anyone who claims like, oh, this happened to me, this person raped me or something like that, and then it's not true. Just pisses me off on a spiritual level. But if it's known and we know this person did something, it was a child molester case and it was a real case, let's just say I'm not about to go and do anything, but if you got hit by a bus, I'm not gonna if you got hit by a bus in front of me, I am not gonna be sad. And I wouldn't be upset. I'm going to be a doctor, so I'm going to go by the Hippocratic Oath and the whole all life is sacred thing. And so I will not do anything, but I can very reasonably say that that's not a person that I'm going to be sad about not being around. Like, you did some dumb shit. I'm not saying somebody go out and murder them, but I'm just saying, just this is a great thing to be taken out of context. This would be so bad out of context. As the clarification, no, I'm not saying somebody go out and kill someone because of that, but you get the idea. Oh, and as for when I can talk about that, oh, wait, I was going to say, yeah, I can separate myself very well. And doing that assignment showed me that I really need it, that it's very important to do so because I do not want to do bias. I am a sociopath. I can separate myself. It's those specific cases that's very difficult. And I was like, is that why I don't want to be a forensic psychologist? Because I don't want that to be a part of myself. I have to be a doctor. I have to be like, I have to be able to practice some bias. And then I realized, no, that's not what was bothering me about not wanting to do it. It was a hard essay to write, and I had to be very critical. And I got 66 out of 70, so I got an A. So I did stay within the lines. I went in through the critically analyzed. It was very frustrating, and I'm about to tell you the date of when I can explain it all. But I realized the reason why I would not want to be a forensic psychologist or psychiatrist is simply because the time of studying involves a lot of reviewing old cases and stuff like that, and memorizing the cases and how they impacted the legal system and working with mental health. And that's cool and very fascinating to research, but not something that I would feel fulfilled or happy as much as I can. I don't know what true happiness feels like. That's a different subject, but it wouldn't be something that would make me want to do for as long as it takes to get to that point, because it's a lot of studying. And especially being a forensic psychiatrist, you have to go through the whole med school thing, and then you also have to, I think, get a PhD too. And it's like, I don't mind doing that, but this is not a subject that would maintain my interest enough to do that. Okay, let me check the chat. Lou, I don't think you have bias. It's not like you're the family of the people in this case. Lou, hey, if a wild bear just mauls them on a hike, it is what it is. That's basically it. What I meant with the bias was just like bias from personal experiences towards a case. Like that's why they look at jurors and they're like, have you been sexually assaulted on a case of sexual assault? And then that can make you biased. And I am a person who's very good at separating myself. But I was wondering, was that the reason I didn't like forensic psychology? Because it deals with things that are very, very, like, I made this channel because I'm an advocate for this stuff. And I was like, nope, it's just because I very much dislike the subject in terms of studying it academically. Free time studying, fascinating. Academic studying, horrible. Because you have to remember the stupid names of the people. Remember when I was listing off the people's names and the dates, and it's like, yeah, great, those cases made impacts, but damn, I understand needing to know like the name of the specific type of how they determine insanity, their standards, or like standards meaning different sets of criteria that they use to determine whether or not somebody's criminally insane. And different jurisdictions, different things are used. I understand you need to know the names of those, but why the fuck do I need to know the name of the exact people in the case that ended up making this standard happen? It's just so frustrating. But I was going to turn to the bipolar thing because I wanted to make sure I didn't give any like the wrong information. But on this topic, I think it's really cool being able to have these types of discussions. And I know myself, and I know that I am very good at separating myself. Being a sociopath is like that. And part of one of the things of being a sociopath is like, it's very hard. A lot of people are like, oh, it'd be so shitty to not have those emotions and all that, and to the same extent. And it's like, well, yeah, there's that part where like your adrenal glands don't work, and the like seeking things that give you that rush because you don't feel it, but it's very hard to miss something that you don't it's at least been long enough that you don't really feel. Like, it's very hard to miss something you're not familiar with. Like, you won't miss the taste of a type of food that you've never tasted before. Okay, I was just checking what it is. I'm curious. Here's a question, an ethical question. If you see someone like a convicted, they're convicted, it's positive they're a child molester, and they're an awful person, child molester, rapist, they've done all of those types of things and murder people, and you see them get mauled by that wild bear, but they're kind of moving a bit. Would you call 911 as right away, or would you be like, I'm just gonna take my sweet time? Or would you call it all? Would you just not call it all until, like, would you just like get in your car and leave and then call 911? What would you do? I'm very curious what you guys would answer to this. These are the type of questions that like while I'm studying psychology, they ask you about, and it's fascinating. And it's so shitty that like online people are afraid to discuss these things. And it's like, no, you could have an opinion on it later, and then somebody else can propose a different idea, and it should be a discussion that you can have. But also, we're not saying that we're condoning murder while we do talk about this. This video is not going to reach more than like 4 people. Lou, I would walk away and play on my phone and call later. So you basically be like, all right, man, totally. I left my shoes at the gym. I know I'm wearing shoes, but I need those other shoes to call 911. Yeah, I kind of get that. But then you have the case of like, kind of like, lying by omission. Would you view that as you're not murdering someone, but you're letting someone die? That's an ethical question that's really hard to think about. Like, does that make you responsible for their death because you could have prevented it? Potentially. You could have done CPR. Lou, even if it wasn't convicted sexual predator, what the hell can I do against a bear? No, assuming the bear's gone. Like, the bear's gone. No, if there's a bear there, whatever it is, if the person's like, they're just rolling around and there's a bear right there and I cannot help the person, like, you never know what you're going to do in those situations, but that's a completely different idea. I'm talking about like, there is no longer a threat to you or them. The bear's gone, but they're like mauled right near death. And there's a potential that you could save them if you started CPR and called 911 right away. But you know that they're a really, really bad person. Like, they just got out of, like, like it's Chris Watts, for example. Or it's the Golden State Killer, or it's Jeffrey Dahmer. Like that type of, like, we're sure. Because I get people have an issue with death penalty because a lot of times sometimes people are wrongly or unjustly without due processing. For example, like the whole new thing with Texas. I am not educated enough on that to discuss that, so I'm not going to. But like those types of situations, I'm talking about like you're sitting there with Ted Bundy. What would you do? Okay, Lou, I'd let them wallow in pain for a bit in the original question. Lou, I've always advocated against the death penalty. It's stupid and not real justice. You see, I think the death penalty is so specific because it's about like if the person wants it. If the person wants it, then it's like not fair. But if the person doesn't want it, then what is it? I think that it's stupid right now that California even has the death penalty allowed while they have a stay of execution rule where they're not letting people be executed. It's like, make up your fucking mind. I personally am for it, but I think that the justice system needs to be fixed. So it's kind of like, can we put this on pause, reevaluate things, and at least come up? No, it's not a perfect world, but can we fix some of this shit because people are getting executed wrongly, wrongfully. And my reasoning behind that is because there's always a chance of escape. No matter how high security it is, some people you just don't want to have roaming around on this earth on the off chance. And on the off chance that they hurt people, say they're in the same jail as somebody who was wrongly convicted, is completely innocent, and then they end up hurting them or kill them or do something like that. It's just to me, it's like that they're still they could get out though. Let's see, Lou. If someone's done such a horrible crime, let them live into old age in solitude with the weight of their crimes on their shoulders. Lou, I agree with you. Wide reform is definitely needed. Wide reform really is. And then I think it's very hard to make a stance on the death penalty right now, simply because, like, if it's in this system, if it's so unorganized, I think we need to put it on pause. But as a fundamental thing, the problem is with some people, like you said, let it weigh on their shoulders, let them rot in prison. For some people, they're not gonna rot. It doesn't bother them. It doesn't hurt them. They're the psychopaths in terms of those types of people where it doesn't weigh on their shoulders. They're not sitting there thinking about what they did. They're not sitting there caring about it. And in some places, it's like they're being treated really well. And the whole taxpayer thing, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that they're getting to live somewhere rent free and all that while they aren't learning from what they did. I think that jails and stuff really need to include a lot more of mental health evaluations and treatment, and see, like, how treatment resistant is this person. And it's like, yeah, maybe you don't get to decide, things are beyond hope, and it maybe for some people it shouldn't be in our hands whether or not people live or die, but it's very hard to make a stance on this without the reform right now. And also, again, the off chance, like, do I want this person on this earth? No. And I'm a sociopath where it's like, I don't really care. And especially in the sense, like, if you're shitty, a homicidal, like a Ted Bundy murderer, I do not give a shit. Go ahead and die. And there's the off chance that something happens where like things are corrupt. He could be let out just for somebody wanting a bunch of money for letting them, like, there's a way that there's always a possibility. And it's like, I just think that this person being on this earth has just not been great, and they don't seem to care. So, okay, checking the chat. Lou, I'm sure a lot of people aren't remorseful for their crimes, but how is it just like killing them any better? How does it make the US better than them? I get that point. It's not about that. That's where I think it's not about, I'm thinking of it more of the point of who's better, who's worse. I'm just saying for the safety of society. I'm thinking like I'm not questioning it, because so what if it's still a risk to other people? Should that matter? Should that be as big of a deal? If, again, like, what's your opinion on what I'm saying about the risk of them getting out? Yes, it's a very low risk in cases like that, but how would that impact your opinion? Again, I respectfully disagree. No problem with it. I appreciate this discussion, but I'm curious. What does that change in your idea? Like how even if you keep the same, like, full stance on, like, against the death penalty, does that, you just change in ideas about it, how you think about it, but how it impacts you keeping your opinion is what I mean. Lou again, and the threat of death isn't much of a deterrent, honestly. Most of those who commit those horrible crimes probably don't care about death. Yeah, they don't care about it. But some of them are terrified of living in jail. So again, mental health practitioners should be in there and being able to evaluate. That's where forensic psychology comes in, is very important. And it's very important to evaluate things. And, like, is this person are they capable of changing? And if they have done such horrific crimes, such as torturing people, you know what? It's like, I don't care about punishing you. I care about the fact that you're just a risk to society. Go away. Like, you're torturing people. You don't deserve life. Being alive in some ways can be a privilege in a sense. Well, it's not always a privilege, but being given the chance to live safely in a place safely in a place rent free and all that, that's a privilege. That's a big privilege. And I'm not talking on a monetary level like I care about it. I like care about the money paying and taxes going towards them. I'm saying that's a privilege that they're getting. They're getting everything free. That doesn't teach them a lesson. If they're a person that just doesn't care, that's not going to teach them a lesson. It's just giving them the privilege to stay alive while also having the off chance risk that they could get out. Okay. Lou. Them getting out of jail to me is more of a positive. I kind of see it as a good thing. I do think people are capable of changing and becoming positive into this world. I'm guessing you mean getting out of jail, like being released successfully. I'm talking about if they escape prior to that. And as far as being able to change, that's actually an interesting point, because there is a scale that they use, like how should these people be involuntarily committed. And there is a thing called you can commit, say, a sexually violent predator, an SVP. I'm going to call it an SVP. SVPs can be detained for life in an institution if it is determined that they are continuous threat to society and should not be allowed to go out. And yes, in some cases, it's just like if they reach their 40s, yeah, I meant escaping. I'm saying, like, if they reach their 40s or 50s and they're not showing any chance of change, I'd rather they just stay in an institution. Like, if I don't have the option of the death penalty, because the death penalty takes a long time to get to there. And if they're spending all that time, and look at the Golden State Killer or something, the thing where he's like 60 or something and still going strong. I'm pretty sure if he hasn't really changed by now, why let him out for another, 7 years on the off chance that he's changed, where there's still, even if there's a 1% chance that he could hurt people, when he has such a history, and all it would be to give someone 10 years. Like, does he deserve that? I don't think he does. Like, yes, you can say that people are capable of change. That's all nice, but is it right? Like, move them to an institution. Like, the reform thing is different, but I just don't think keeping them around it doesn't really have a point. Like, you need to move on to the other people, and let's look at the other things. They're just taking up space. They're using up oxygen that other people need. Like, just sometimes, like, I'm talking about the extreme cases. And as far as the death penalty in general, I think there's a reform that needs to be made. But for the topic of this conversation, I'm talking about the extreme cases. Lou, of course, we can hardly ever know about people's inner intentions, but if they seem like they can return into society and help in some way, I don't see why we shouldn't release them. That's true, but there are cases where you have to weigh it. Where, okay, there are different levels. There's also levels of, like, outpatient monitoring. I think that there's a big thing where they need to incorporate mental health more, so that they can move, say, to institutions and then be monitored, and then they could potentially be let out. But if they're reaching the age of, like, fucking 60 years old and they haven't even been approved for the outpatient program, like, they've been given all their chances. People live like 60. You lived a long and healthy life, and you didn't deserve it. So to me, that's just my opinion. And also, caging people since childhood will lead to kids growing up system, only knowing what it's like in jail, like Charles Manson. I'm not sure what you mean, caging kids. How old was Charles Manson when he was done? Oh, by the way, I might switch topic just because my voice is starting to hurt. And this is a topic that it's very interesting. And I'm not like just saying, oh, because I can't change your mind, I want to move on. I'm just saying because we could go in circles about this because you can hear my voice. So I want to like put it on pause and respectfully agree to disagree because I have so much that I could say on this. And I think I can explain more about like also the committee involuntarily committing them for when they're they have the potential of violence when I go about explaining my analytical paper. Okay. No, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I have no idea what that means. I'm smelling what you're stepping in. Please, could you just no more metaphors? I don't know what you mean. This is just getting caught. Stop getting caught. I'm guessing you mean that you're understanding my point. Okay, yeah. Okay, I know. I just want to make sure because this is such a controversial topic. I appreciate this type of discussion so much and I want to pick it up later. So I don't want to lose that idea. So yeah, we're putting that one on pause and I'm going to go after I have some water, go back to the bipolar discussion and sort of check with the DSM again to make sure I didn't give incredibly wrong information because I'm basing it off of really, really old research that I did and just my experience. Lou, I was just talking about the concept of rapidly catching and releasing people. Oh, yeah, that's not good. That I'm going to go into more when I explain my paper, which will be, if I can get the paper that will tell me that. Allahu Akbar. When does it officially end? Okay, so after around the December 18th mark should be like when I can talk about it because that would be the mark of when like final grades are submitted. So no, it shouldn't impact anything. And the last two videos that I put up, correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, I'm gonna put you on temporarily we'll have the hammer of justice right now. Because also it makes it easier to read your shit. Can you just type something real quick so I can see if it's worked? Let me start with water before I go to the apple juice. You have the wrench. God damn, my voice. Is how much of an introvert I am. Okay, to be fair, I have been talking straight for 50 minutes. Okay. Lou, it's only Lou here. Lou, could you send a message to Snowy again? Because for some reason that gets to you. But let me answer your thing first. Does the age thing happen also because once you get old, your brain becomes mush? I can't tell if that's a joke or if you want to know if it's just like your brain just loses hope. But could you by any chance having a whole one-person lecture? My brain is like not being able to process. I'm trying to connect the things that you're saying, but I feel like you're responding. I need a full sentence to be able to understand this right now because my brain is like glitching. We're having one of those things that you get on a computer. 4 people. Who's here? Go back to 3. So confusing. Okay, you're talking a lot like a one-man lecture. Yeah, I am, and it's also I'm talking really fast. Because usually, even if professors give lectures, they have a few minutes in between. And I've always had this thing where if I talk continuously, when I go on my monologues, even if it's not this long, you'll notice my voice just starts to crack. I think it's just because I'm so much of an introvert. I just do not talk for long periods of time usually. No, it's not cotton mouth. It's just the back of my throat starts to like get gravelly. Uh, yeah, did you catch me? Could you by any chance leave a thing to update Snowy? Yeah, a lot of people think you're about to cry a lot of time. Yeah, I think I don't blame them. It does sound like I'm about to cry. I guess this would be good. Like if I were ever an actress, would be like, just give me an hour and talk to me, and then put me on, and I can break down in tears. Okay, I will wait. Since you have now been a mod, you have responsibilities. Go to Snowy. Just message, and depending on what's going on, you may keep the wrench thing or not. It really depends. I may keep both if it goes to if they get really shitty towards the end of the day. Because apparently once we hit 6 p.m. the all the creeps come out. Okay, we're in this bipolar section. There we go. Okay. Can't. I can ward off the gutter lizards for now. Yeah, I know, but I also wanted to. Oh, thank you. I was just saying that because it's always fun to have Snowy join. I also sent like an update thing to the one disability person. She has a long name, and I kept trying. Yeah, Sonia. I sent like an update to Sonia, but it seemed that she was here later in the day. Yeah, was it Scone? Yeah, Scone. I don't know why I said Sonia. Yeah, Scone. I tried to do Scone. If you want to do one too, that would be great. But I think let's wait for Scone because she's a mom, and I think that she works until like 4. Because I saw that yesterday. Or what day is it? Yeah, it's Tuesday. So I'll wait till later because I don't want to bother people and be like, hey, join my live, join my live, join my live. But I just felt bad because she finally got to join a live, and it was right when I had to go. Okie brief intermission. 4 in your time zone or in here. 4 for me is like in half an hour. But usually, should we do 4 or 5 or just wait, or is it too annoying? It's just because it's so hard for me to communicate. PST Pacific Standard Time 4, it's 3:31 for me. What time zone are you? EST? Or Central Standard Time? CST? I just now learned that mine was PST. I thought mine was like CST. I didn't know all this stuff. I think honestly a lot of the regulars are available a little later. I think so too. I like to start around this time because I get if I'm getting like excited, but oh, Central. Okay. Don't know what time that is. Central. Oh, wait a minute. Central is like Okay, Central, you're about 2 hours ahead. So, yeah, I usually start around this time, and it might be, yeah, I just checked it. So, the regulars are usually available later, but I felt like doing a longer live just to chill because I it's quarantine, can't go out, but celebratory, so I don't have to do work necessarily today, and I'm just giving myself the day off, and I don't mind just chilling with you guys because, well, what else? And but I doubt like a 5 hour live will get a lot of views. But hey, that means more people can join, and I can talk to more people. The celebrations begin once I finish this glass of water. I can bring out the other celebratory stuff. And you guys, it's gonna be a joint of basically seeing what my day is like, which is incredibly boring. And that's why I do lives earlier. I do need to pick out classes, which I might ask you guys advice for. And also, I've been wanting to pick out an engagement ring, like not my permanent one. I keep asking my fiance. We'll say like we have roommates. So fiance, I keep asking fiance for the engagement ring because I just have like temporary ones because the other ones that are expensive, I don't want one until like the wedding ring, and I don't want something really expensive, really really expensive just for the sake of expensive. I just want something that'll last because I keep having ones. I get ones that like are like around $20 or something, but they break. And he got me one that the one I've showed before, but I got ripped off. But I love it, but it's just too big. And the problem is the metal is way too thin to be like changed for my size. I'm like a four and a half, 4 1/4 or 4.5 max. But here, you're 18. I don't know if you're in the U.S. Then legally you can't have this. So you get actual apple juice or whatever you've got with you, and cheers. I might need to take, yes. I will probably like maybe take a mini break in between and then come back on towards later, just so I can give my voice a rest. But I'll be uploading this. I'm feeling myself lose a little bit of spoons, but I want to come back, and I will come back in like, what would it be? Do you think I should finish up the bipolar section? Begin the celebration? Yeah, I think I'll finish up the bipolar section, just explaining that, and that way I could put that in the title so I know what it's going to be. Shoot, I feel bad for never understanding the spoons concept. Oh, it's okay. I never explained it. Okay, the spoons are basically energy tokens, but specific for autism. So it's like everybody, a lot of people are introverts, have like they'll get drained, but when you're autistic, it's not just drained from socializing around people. It's a drain from like the sensory thing, from talking, from trying to perceive things that you can't understand. And so it's there. It's not. There's I forget where the exact article or thing that it originated from, but it just caught on in the autistic community, and so it's just a lot of people. It's hard to get used to. Where I'm just like, I need spoons, because a lot of people can do lives for a long time, but for me, it's like I even though I'm just talking to myself, I also have to work on perceiving and even just the nuances in text and stuff. And it's never anybody else's fault because it's like guys are been really, really cool. Okay, actually, I can feel the way myself right now, and because I do not want to miss doing a live later, since you're a mod, you can, yeah, it's energy capacity for just everything. It's just instead of it being like, oh, I'm really exhausted and I don't want to socialize, it's I'm exhausted and I might need to go nonverbal for a bit. It's like recharging batteries. So I'll go nonverbal so that I can be verbal later, because that's the whole level thing. The difference is with autism. I can feel myself now where I'm kind of sinking a bit. So I'm going to pick that up, the bipolar thing, later. But since you're a mod, you can put out messages and you can change pinned, um, pinned comments, can't you? Because if so, I'm exhausted, and I'd very much appreciate if you could. I think you can. All right. Well, I'm going to come back at, say, in, for me, my time, it would probably be 3:30, 4:35. Max around like in 2 hours, max 2 hours. Mods can kick people out of the chat thing, and mods, I believe, with that, they can only access things with like comments too, like inappropriate comments, but you don't have control over anything else, like in YouTube Studio type of stuff. But you have the power to do stuff in the chat area. And that's why I am making you a mod temporarily, because I feel like it's important, because if Snowy can't come, then you can come. I'm gonna end this stream just for a little bit, for a couple hours, just so I can recharge. Hour and a half to 2 hours, and then I will send a message or a comment to you, since on your last comment when you said that you were going to join, to let you know when I'm joining. And then once I start the live, then I can ask you send something to like Snowy and Scone and Lauren, and like just to let the regulars know. Is that cool? Leave me in charge for 2 hours. Oh, I meant leave. You will technically be like, I just won't leave the live on, but I just explained it. But thank you so much for being understanding. I just need to go watch a couple house episodes, sit with my little aminal, because the maybes always, somehow cats just recharge me faster. If I end up coming on earlier, tell you, but let me, just as a treat. Everybody loves cats, so I'm just gonna bring her, let her say hi, and I'm bothering her and waking her up, but I don't care because she does the same thing to me. Maybes. Hi, baby. You just need to say hi to. You need to say hi to Lou. I call this tacoing her, because, and she's just gotten so used to it. It's just how I pick her up and take her places. She's always like, "Oh, I'm going somewhere now." My babies. My babies. Say hi. Say hi to the peoples. You're so adorable. I got you, don't worry. You're safe in your bed. Yeah, basically. But she's so small. She is so tiny. She's so petite and adorable. You're the only little thing that I would ever make this like noise to. What's up, May? You're purring? She knows when I need her. I cannot believe she's purring. Normally she'd be annoyed. Babies. When you like nuzzle their head like that, that's how they know that you're like telling them you love them, but it always looks bizarre to other people. But anyways, okay. So bye for now. Thank you so much. I will apply with that comment. Give it 2 hours. No. She always purrs. She purrs a lot, but like it's bizarre that when I like in this position right now, because I woke her up and I'm holding her in a taco position right by the desk talking. Like this would normally annoy her. So I will see you very soon. Just gonna go recharge. That's why it's interesting. Like I look so tired, but I'm not like physically tired. So yeah. Go replenish those spoons. Bye. Take care. Say bye, May. She says bye in a brr sound.